You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What is up? Welcome in to Mizzou, That's Who, here on the Kansas City Sports Network, your podcast for Missouri athletics here on KCSN. I'm always joined by Gabe DeArmond and Maggie Johnson. We got a very special guest today. We're talking Mizzou hoops with Charlton C.Y. Coach, how are you doing? How are you doing today? How are you doing this year? I'm so excited to get to talk to you and talk some hoops with you.
Doing great. It's basketball season, and we're gearing up and ready to go.
So, CY, you guys got the job here. Was I think late March. I think a couple weeks later, Coach Gates hired you. I'm just curious now. You're 3 weeks from the start of the season. I mean, has it been kind of a whirlwind? Is this kind of now okay? We're settled in, and this is just another basketball season for you. What's it been like?
No, it's definitely been different. It's been special. April is when I came on board. I guess Dennis got the job late March, and I was hired maybe the first week of April. From the second we did the press conference in April to now, it's all been a blur. Like it hadn't stopped since getting on the jet to come to Missouri with my wife. So it's always exciting rebuilding a new program. I've been doing it 28 years, so I've had that experience of doing it a few times. I remember back in 1994 when I came in with Auburn to help rebuild, and then going to Georgia Tech with Paul Hewitt to rebuild, and then going as a head coach to Georgia Southern to rebuild, because 95% of the time when you get a new job, you're having to start over and rebuild. And then so coming here to Missouri and having to rebuild, I've had some experience doing it, so I know how exciting it is, but also how hard it is. And you got to lay the foundation in every facet of the program, in terms of your culture, in terms of how you teach, your system, engaging the past players, which Dennis has been phenomenal with, in the tradition of the program. But probably the most important of all of that is recruiting. And so we've tried to put that on steroids, so to speak, from walking in the door. And I think we've done that. I see some people on social media kind of jabbing at us, saying, oh, they got 50 million offers out. Well, I think that's a good thing. And tell them CY said there's going to be some more offers. Tell them I said that personally.
There you go.
I'll be sure to tell them. I'm kind of our voice of Twitter a little bit. Yeah. I'm in the group chats and things like that. So you've gotten the blood pumping. I will tell you that. There are fans excited that you guys are here.
Well, all jokes aside, Missouri is a national brand, and Missouri should be an elite basketball program. And in order for that to happen, you have to recruit at an elite level. Your plays and everything work better when you got pros.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was at Florida State helping to build the new bloods, when I brought in Dwayne Bacon, Terrence Mann, Malik Beasley, our plays worked a lot better. It's my experience. So tell the guys on social media complaining about all the offers we have out in 25, 24. We're starting early. We're planting our roots early. And we're going after the best in the country aggressively. I love everybody. I ain't mad at nobody. I ain't trying to fight. They can crack jokes on me on Twitter all they want. But I'm going to sign some pros.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to talk about that too, CY. You're a phenomenal recruiter. And you've landed some pros from everywhere. What's kind of without divulging too much, obviously, what's that secret sauce for the recruiting? What makes that kind of go for you?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. To do it at this level, at the high major level, it takes a phenomenal team and unit. When I was an assistant at the lower to mid major levels, I could kind of terrorize the league by myself. You know what I mean? Just with relationships and thinking outside the box. At Georgia Tech, we had Paul Hewitt and a phenomenal staff, and I was a part of that. And I obviously I took the point on a lot of things, but Paul Hewitt was a phenomenal recruiter and thought outside the box. The assistants, John O'Connor, Peter Zaharis, and Willie Reese, we were a championship team. So we came up with Derek Favors, and we came up with Thaddeus Young and Iman Shumpert and Javaris Crittenden, and it was we were a championship team. And then going to Florida State, it was the same deal. We created the New Bloods, and they're still rolling, operating at a high level. But Jalen Hamilton was a phenomenal recruiter. Stan Jones, Steve Smith, Dennis Gates, and myself, we were a championship unit, and we were able to turn out Jonathan Isaac and Scotty Barnes and Dwayne Bacon and Terrence Mann and Malik Beasley. So coming here to Missouri, I've been a point guard on a lot of things, but we have a championship team constructed. A lot of these guys that are here with Dennis and I, they were at Florida State with us. They were younger. They were babies. So they saw the ground steps and how it was built. So, Coach Kyle Smith-Peters, Coach Dickie Nutt, Gates, myself, and our support staff is really, really good here. I think they're guys that are going to be future big-time assistant coach and recruiters themselves. Chase Goldstein and Matt Klein and Ryan Sharbaugh. These guys are in training, but they're really, really good. And so there's no way Dennis can do it by himself. There's no way I could do it by myself to recruit at the high major level. The guys we have now are really, really good, really creative. They come to me sometimes when I have visits coming in, and they come with these ideas, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. And I love it. You know what I mean? Like, let's think outside of the box. Let's be aggressive. Let's build relationships in a organic and very authentic way. And so far, we got the 13th rated recruiting class in the country. We were number 1 in the country in transfer portal recruiting. And we're building a head of steam where we're not going to back down from anybody, blue blood or not. We feel like we should be at the table, and I think it's working so far.
And for everybody listening, we understand that Coach Gates is out on the recruiting trail today. They can't tell us where or anything. We just know he's out looking for guys, and it is a 365 days a year job. And see why obviously the recruiting is probably the biggest piece for any program. But Dennis goes to Cleveland State, and look, he's not getting top 100 guys there, and he built that thing up with the guys he was able to get. And I know it's been a big part of what you've said since taking this job that, hey, guys you can't just be a recruiter. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into this once you get them on campus. And I know it's been important to you to talk about because, hey, for guys that are CY Young from 20 years ago to get that opportunity to run programs like Dennis is getting now, just can you talk about that piece a little bit? Just, hey, getting them to campus is one piece, but we see recruiting classes all over the country that flame out because it doesn't work.
That is a phenomenal point, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think Dennis and I, when we were at Florida State together, we took a tremendous amount of pride in development, and we're both disciples of Jalen Hamilton. He's our mentor. When he calls, we both get nervous. You answer it. You know what I mean? Like, he's our stepdad. And but he is one of the best in the history of college basketball in terms of developing players and building and developing a program. And I say that, I've been doing it 28 years. I've seen the best of the best. The guys that were becoming lottery picks at Florida State, even before we got there, Al Thornton and Tony Douglas, these guys were not 5-star players. They were ranked like 300. When Dennis and I were there, we had Devin Vassell, who wound up being the 11th pick in the draft. He was a 2-star player. I beat Presbyterian in North Florida for him. So when you bring kids on campus and you recruit at a high level, there's still a program that has to be in place. There's still development. You got to understand development and not just physical, but heart, mind, body, and spirit. And I think Dennis has been trained to understand the entire gamut. Just like myself, we come out of the same program with Jalen Hamilton as our mentor. And I just from being here from the summer to now, watching the kids that are in the program, how their bodies have improved, the pace that they play, their commitment to watching film, the way they study the game. I think we're developing at a rapid pace the same way we did when Dennis and I were at Florida State. And when we were at Florida State, nobody thought we could flip the ACC. I mean, you got to realize who we were dealing with, right?
Yeah.
No, they thought we were crazy. Like, you can't flip Duke, Carolina, and Virginia. Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams. Come on, but we did, and we have the same approach here. It's going to take some time, and we want to not skip steps. We want to do it one step at a time, brick by brick, so it could sustain itself. I'm not saying we're going to be a flash in the pan. We show up and everything, national championships start falling out of the sky. It's going to take some time, but the development piece of it, teaching, recruiting, not just talent, but high character gym rats. I think the character is so important, and I'm really proud of the product we're putting together right now, just because the character of the kids that we have, really special. As a college basketball coach, sometimes you got to keep in mind that you don't coach the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes,
I mean, if you can get a couple of those guys, if you can get Giannis some eligibility, it wouldn't be a terrible idea.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought maybe the biggest mistake we made, and I learned this through experience. 28 years of doing this. I'm pre-internet now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm from the 1900s, so I can call out some stuff, and y'all be like, "What is he talking about?" You know what I mean? But
I know.
At Georgia Tech, we might have signed too many one and dones. I think you need continuity in your program. I think the most valuable pro is a Terrence Mann or a Trent Forrest that are 3-4 year guys. Now, every now and then you got to sign a one and done, so it's sexy, everybody's excited, but really the most value is on 3-4 year guys. And to be honest, I would take a great college player, 4-year guy, before I signed a one and done pro, unless the one and done was a high character guy. Now, some of these one and done guys, they're from great families, they get it. You know what I mean? Like Scotty Barnes, like he was phenomenal. Jonathan Isaac, he was phenomenal. He didn't have a lack of humility. Like, they went to class until the last day they declared for the draft. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't, I don't want to call no name, but Ben Simmons, I wasn't like a Ben Simmons. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that type of situation where the guy shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm not here to go to school. I'm here to play ball." Like, you can't take those type guys. But if you look at the history of the NCAA tournament, you look at like Luke Hancock. He was the MVP of the NCAA tournament. He's a 4-year guy. Wasn't a pro. Great college player. Miles Simon, never was an NBA guy. MVP of the NCAA tournament. Great college player. Donald Williams, North Carolina. Never played in the NBA. great college players. So I think you got to find at the end of the day, I coach in college. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think
Right.
you got to keep that in mind as you build. I look at my board every day. I turn my camera because I didn't want y'all to see my secret board over there. I don't know what that.
Hey, if you walk away and just flip that camera over, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
But I sit in my office every day and I look at this board like a GM of an NBA organization on how here are the pieces that we need. Okay, in the class of 23, I want this, I need that. In the class of 24, I want this, I want that. And in the class of 25, now that's it. I need a blockbuster class. You know what I mean? I need a platinum album. You know what I mean? Like I got a couple years to plant my seeds and my harvest can crop and I can go get, Godzilla. You know what I mean? And so that's the approach we kind of take. But great college players are really key to building college programs. You learn that in Sesame Street. Same, different. See, that's from the 1900s. See, she probably never saw Sesame Street. She don't even know.
Well, I'm older than he is.
I just want to say before Maggie's next question, we all might need to take a breath. We're a little disheartened to find out Ben Simmons did not go to LSU for the classes. I think this is stunning to all of us. But if you're recovered, Maggie, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention I'm a Mizzou grad. I'm actually older than you probably think. I was there during the Coach Mike Anderson years. He got us to the Elite Eight and all of that. It was great. And most of our guys were third year. Like we built our team based on experience.
Yes.
So, that's just kind of the program the Mizzou that I'm used to is that, we've never been a one and done type of school. Mm-hmm. So that, I think Michael Porter was the first one and we saw him play for, I don't know how many minutes total, but it wasn't
63.
Yeah.
There you go.
It wasn't, it wasn't very much, but I kind of wanted to ask you what, you guys have been so successful in your other programs you've been to, what kind of made you want to follow Gates to Mizzou?
Well, first of all, obviously, Gates is like a baby brother to me. I can't call him baby brother anymore because he's all grown up. But sometimes I watch him and I'm amazed at his development. And I always knew he would be what he's turned out to be. I started recruiting Dennis Gates in 1998. I was an assistant at Northeastern University in Boston. And I got a tip. They said, hey, it's a diamond in the rough in Chicago. You maybe can get him, high academic kid, because I was at Northeastern. And they call him the sheriff. And he's the backbone of the team. So, I go down there and start recruiting him. And sure enough, he was the guy. Like he was special. You know what I mean? So I think that relationship, one. And number two, I'm a basketball junkie and historian. So I understand the tradition of Mizzou basketball. Like most people say they do, but I'm one of these guys that really I used to watch Mizzou and Norm Stewart on TV in Miami on cable in the Big Eight. I saw the Sun Bowls. I saw Derek Chivas. I was in the, me and a couple guys used to wear Band-Aids under our eye in practice in like 87. I was a sophomore, Lee Coward and Anthony Peeler and Doug Smith. I used to watch those guys on TV. And I've been looking for this. I got an article when I won the state championship in high school saying my dream school was Missouri. I've been looking for it all over my basement to really put that on the Missouri fans so they don't think I'm a fraud. But I've been a fan of Mizzou basketball for so long. And so when Dennis called me and said, hey, man, I think I'm getting a Mizzou job and I need you. I'm like, you can't be serious. Like, I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm in. So just the tradition of it, just watching them in the NCAA tournament. I mean, think about it. Norm Stewart went to the NCAA tournament every year, like Christmas. Like Missouri was always. I graduated high school in 1989. I graduated college in 83. So now think about his tenure 89 to 93. 85 was my freshman year in high school. So I watched all those teams, and I know what Missouri is supposed to be, and I'm honored to have a part in trying to put Missouri in its rightful place in college basketball. And it's only right that Norm Stewart and the Mizzou Tigers are an elite basketball program.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, kind of building this roster too. For this year, you had 3 returners. How tough was that trying to build out this roster with now the new NBA draft rules where they get a longer period to wait? You got the transfer portal. How tough was that for this year's team?
Very difficult. The transfer portal is a lifesaver. The transfer portal has really changed college basketball because not only can you get a quality player, but you can get an experienced player. Now you got to decipher through the character and make sure you're not recruiting somebody else's problems. That's the difficult part of it. But we really, really hit it. I mean, the guys that we got, Drake Olston from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Noah Carter from Northern Iowa, Nick Honor from Clemson, Isaiah Mosley from Missouri State. Like, these guys are high performer winners, high character guys. The guys that we brought from Cleveland State who already know this culture, Trey Gamillion, Demoy Hodge, Mabor, these guys are phenomenal. Like, they're phenomenal. And if you come watch our practice, I'm not saying that we're overly talented, but we're overly cultured. And that's huge in winning basketball games in college basketball. And we're older, we're mature. You got guys that want to be something in life. You know what I mean? Championship people win championships. And it was very tough for me to leave Florida State because I'd been there 10 years and I was such a part of that program and so wrapped in the DNA and the fabric of that program. But to come here and to build relationships with these guys who need me as much as the guys at Florida State needed me, and love and appreciate me as much as the guys at Florida State loved and appreciated me. Like, I feel like I hit the lottery. You know what I mean? I just love coming to work and hanging out with Sean East. Sean East is a beast. You know what I mean? And he's an experienced guy. He's had some adversity in his career, right? He went to UMass and Bradley, didn't work. He goes to junior college, becomes the juice, and now he comes to Missouri. He's finally gotten to the level he wants. So he's different. Like, his focus is different because he's been through some stuff. And he and I go to First Watch sometimes and have breakfast, and we just talk about life. It's so refreshing. And at the end of the day, as a college basketball coach, people don't understand this. I want to win games, right? I want to win championships. I want NCAA tournaments. I want to develop pros. But the thing I enjoy the most is preparing young men for life after basketball. That's what you enjoy the most. These guys, when they get married and they have kids and they're calling you laughing about, man, coach, all that crazy stuff you told me in the locker room, I get it now. That's the beauty of college basketball. And we got some guys that on the fringe of going into the real world and want to be professional basketball players, but to choose a profession. And it's just a joy to work with them every day. So I really feel like I hit the lottery coming to Mizzou.
We are 3 weeks from today, season opener. And, I know what everybody watching this is saying, okay, ask him how many games we're going to win. Ask him if we're going back to the NCAA tournament. But, we joked with Dennis the day he got the job. Hey, man, this should be easy for him. He's had 7 months. He had 3 weeks at Cleveland State, to get it going. But I'm curious, you inherit, obviously, the Wichita State game's already on the schedule. The Illinois game happens every year. The KU series is agreed to. But I'm curious about the process of putting together this schedule for your first team, because just from the outside looking at this, there are some games that, like, hey, there's an opportunity here to get off to a pretty good start. Hopefully, if you are what you think you are, and just, hey, sometimes getting that number in the W column up early in the season and getting these guys some confidence is a big deal. So I'm curious how much the staff had to do with putting together this schedule and what the idea was going in.
Well, I'm not excited about the schedule. The schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
The schedule is brutal. I wish we would have had a little bit more control coming in on the first year as a head coach and CEO. What I learned is the first year, if you take over a bad program, you need to play a destitute schedule, and then if you take over a okay program, you need to play a destitute schedule, and if you take over a good program, you need to play a bad schedule. We're playing a great schedule coming in the door, which concerns me because you're right. It could go either way. You can look at these games as a phenomenal opportunity, which they are. But sometimes teams, they jump up to the high major level and they get punched in the mouth and they lose their confidence. So, I'm not brave enough to make a prediction on how many games we're going to win because I've looked at the schedule. And again, we talked about the transfer portal. A lot of these guys are coming from mid-major leagues. And it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be, we're playing in the SEC. That's the NBA South. A lot of these guys, they played in the Horizon. They played in this league. Now, we have Nick Honor, who was a godsend. High-level point guard, big-time player. He's hit game winners. He's closed out games versus North Carolina Duke, and he beat Florida State twice. That's why when I came here, I said, this dude's coming with me. Hey, have you ever seen the movie Braveheart?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's Nick Honor, William Wallace. He's this little dude that just mean, tough, smart, born to play point, and you're like, no, don't drive in there. You're too little. Like, oh, he made it. Thank you. He's really, really good. And he's had high major experience, and he's been able to help these other guys kind of try to prepare them how the game is played at that level. Because playing that game in the SEC is really a different level and brand of basketball than some of these other leagues. Not as just the length, the athleticism, the speed. There's not as much room on the court. The basket closes up quick in terms of rim protection. It's going to take some time for us to get used to that. But with that being said, we are coming into the league maybe at the right time because you got the top four, right? You got Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas. They got superheroes, right? Like these guys are visiting from Earth. You know what I mean? you watch the film and you say, like, these guys jump very, very high, right? And then the next tier, you got Texas A&M and Alabama, who are really, really good at phenomenal cultures. But after that, it's all new coaches, all new systems. So we got a chance if we can wither some of the storms that we got to face. You got South Carolina, new, Florida, new, LSU, new, Georgia, new. Who else? I missed? Us.
Mississippi State. Yeah.
Mississippi State, new. And then you got Ole Miss, who's been kind of fighting for their lives the last couple of years. Talented, though. Talented. But with that many new people in, that's what gives you a chance. Okay, now maybe we can, if you upset somebody at home, and if we can start off well in a non-conference and get what we need. I'm gonna tell you what we need. We need the fans.
Yeah.
We need to make Mizzou like a difficult place to play at home. Like, and listen, don't wait till the Kansas game to come. You know what I mean?
Like you know that one. What that'll be.
But come to all of them and create that atmosphere so that our kids will be used to playing in a hostile environment, and we can get that, you know what I mean? We can get that swagger and we can get that train behind us where we know, okay, I don't care who we play at home, the Mizzou faithful, they're going to be here. And now human nature is a beast. Everybody says it shouldn't matter, but I don't care what you say. A packed house gives you a jolt of energy that's different. It's just human nature. You know what I mean? You can say, well, no, it shouldn't motivate you. That's bull. You go somewhere and it's 15,000 and they're screaming for you. We can't lose. Like, we're not gonna we can't let these fans down. We can't lose. And it's a team effort. That's how, I mean, to be honest, Dennis and I experienced it at Florida State. That's what happened. You know, we wound up winning like 29 straight ACC games at home, 85-4 at home. The place started selling out. And now all of a sudden, Duke, Louisville, North Carolina came into our place and they were scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Illinois and Kansas, they only human now. They come here and the place is sold out, 15,000 going crazy. They get a little nervous too now. So I think we just really need the fans to come out and make a little noise and believe in us, and not just for the Kansas game or the Illinois game, but all of them. That's if we say we want Mizzou basketball to be back on top, then let's all do it together. It's the state's program, right? There's no other high major school in the state of Missouri, and there's not an NBA organization in the state of Missouri. So the University of Missouri basketball, when people come to play us, they should really feel like we got to play University of Missouri tonight, and we playing against the whole state. The whole state is at the game. You know what I mean? That's what they should be saying. You agree or disagree? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Anytime they come play the University of Missouri, they should feel like we played against the whole state of Missouri was at the game.
I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but those atmospheres somehow it seems to influence the calls a little bit along the way too.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
I don't want to say I've seen some games in Allen Fieldhouse where the refs were intimidated, but
or the ref gets intimidated, or the ref gets emotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ref wants the crowd behind him too. He makes the whole. Hey, you ever seen the ref? He's jumping up, making a block call. He's going. Like, what is he doing?
He's feeling the energy.
He's feeling the energy. It's human nature. Human nature is a beast. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping our fans hear this and they want to come out and help build University of Missouri basketball again. Help get us back to that elite level where, we're a constant in the NCAA tournament and we're a national championship contender. Because I came here because there's no doubt in my mind that we could do it. Dennis and I, we were involved with building it at Florida State. If you can do it at Florida State, there's no question you can do it at the University of Missouri.
I guess I don't even need to ask you if you've been taught about the important rivalries. And obviously, basketball, so MUKU is massive.
Massive.
We just started playing Kansas again. We play Illinois every year in St. Louis, which is where I'm located, which is great. It's super exciting. I love to go to those games. But last year losing to Kansas by 40 was, I think, devastating. So I'm glad and you're well aware of the hatred, love lost between the programs for sure.
Yeah, no. From the day I was announced, I've at the grocery store, in my neighborhood, wherever I go since moving. Let me see. I took the job in April. I officially moved to Columbia like August the 5th. and the family on the left side of me and the family across the street, they both came over and they brought stuff. You know, we moved in the house and they were like, "Coach, we're gonna beat Kansas." I was like, "What's your name again? How you doing?" At least get your name before you put me under all this pressure. Yeah, so I definitely understand that we have to beat Kansas. Definitely understand that we have to beat Illinois. But I just think, gosh, I just want to get back to the NCAA tournament so bad. It's nothing like that NCAA tournament. You know, I'm spoiled at Florida State. You know, I went to 3 straight Sweet 16s and an Elite 8, the ACC regular season title. Like, got used to going every year. It wasn't are we going? It was, you know, can we get a 2 seed? Can we get a 1 seed? You know, that became our conversation. So I'm spoiled too. I'm just like the Mizzou fans. You know, I'm gonna ask our players, "Hey, can we beat Kansas? Can y'all say?" I'm like, "Yo, hey, can you please beat Illinois?" Appreciate it.
Hey, yeah. See why you won't pay for any groceries for a year if that happens. But hey, I'll let one last thing for me. I'll let Tucker finish this out after that. But you mentioned that NCAA tournament. It just occurred to me the last NCAA tournament game I attended was 2017, and this man was on the other bench. And let me tell you, that was about 25 minutes of the most unbelievable basketball I think I've ever seen out of that Florida State. That was just like, hang on, this is not an 8 seed. Something weird. And then there was about a 7-8 minute stretch where you thought, hey, maybe. Oh no, wait, this is not going to be a good game. Never mind, it's over. You know, but that was the last NCAA tournament game I've been at.
Nashville, Tennessee, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Nashville,
yeah, because it was happening at the same time. None of us saw Virginia lose to whatever the 16 seed that beat them, because that game was going on while you guys were running Missouri out of Bridgestone Arena.
Well, and to Missouri's defense and to Conzo Martin's defense, that team was really, really good. And they were beat up with injuries. Like, you know, Michael Porter had a back.
Jordan Barnett didn't play.
Yeah, like that team was beat up. I think if Kevin Porter's healthy and Barnett plays, you know, we're in for a real dog fight. So we kind of got lucky on that one, to be honest, because Michael Porter Jr. and his brother. Talented. I'm waiting for 2 more of those to come out of Columbia.
Us too.
Lord have mercy. I remember sitting on that bench looking at Michael Porter Jr. and he shot one like right in front of our bench, and I was like, ooh, he's so tall. I was like, isn't he tall? His jump shot is like 7'8". Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, he was like breathtaking, you know what I mean? But those guys make your plays work better now. Ooh, recruit. Because he was a special talent, boy. Michael Porter Jr. and his brother. Brother was a pro too. You know. I'm praying every night that 2 more of those come out of Columbia, because we need them. But there's some, I can't talk about names, but there's some local talent that I'm impressed with. There's a couple guys from around here that
I can talk about names. One of them plays point guard at Tolton High School, but he didn't say that. He didn't say that.
He didn't say no English. Yeah. No
We've missed out on so much Missouri talent throughout the years. I mean, you think of Hansbrough, Otto Porter, all those players. So just to see any of those Missouri players land, I mean, Jason Tatum, it's just, the list just goes on and on. Bradley Beal, yeah. You know, if we can just get, you know, a few of those, give us a little bit of hope.
Can you imagine Missouri if they'd have got Bradley Beal and Tatum?
No, I couldn't have, honestly.
Yeah, we cannot imagine it.
Well, we're fighting to change that. Trust me. So
love it.
Tell the Twitter guys and stop making fun of us because we're recruiting so hard. I'm so confused by that too. I'm like, aren't we supposed to be recruiting hard?
Yeah.
Like, not that I care it's going to change my approach, but I'm just,
right.
I was just bewildered. I was like,
yeah,
these guys are cracking on me because I'm doing my job. Huh?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, but man, Michael Porter Jr. Ooh, boy, I can't stop thinking about him right in front of our bench shooting that ball.
Man, this had all gone so well. Now all the Missouri fans are like, God, I'm depressed, man. I
just think about him going out against the Iowa State game, and I'm like, man, I was like, we're done, so.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time, taking some time with us and talking some hoops. I know we're excited for Missouri basketball. Still got a few weeks left in the college football season, but man, as Gabe, as you mentioned, right around the corner, 3 weeks. Until we get to see some action, see this team in action that I'm super excited to see. So, Coach, once again, thank you so much for your time.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on, and anytime.
All right. Thanks to Coach C.Y. Young for joining us on today's podcast. Incredible conversation, made me incredibly optimistic about Missouri basketball, the outlook of the program, not just this year, but in years to come. Loved what I heard from CY, and we got a pelvic thrust out of the deal. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're just listening to the audio version, you need to go to the YouTube, scrub to the point where he's talking about referees, watch the pelvic thrust. Incredible content, incredible everything from CY, man. The dude's just electric. Love to hear him talk basketball.
Yeah, well, and it's just so, like, he was joking about, because I've made a couple of Twitter comments about, like, yo, this is the 912th offer, but it's just so different from what Missouri fans have been used to the last few years. And not only, I'm not saying Conzel Martin didn't recruit or Kim Anderson didn't recruit. It was just, look, as somebody who is paid to follow this stuff, there was this shroud of secrecy around this program the last few years. And that doesn't seem to be there. I mean, Gates and CY, even Dickie Nutt, I've done interviews with him. I mean, there is so much personality and energy around this thing. And hey, there comes a point that's going to have to translate into wins, obviously, but there's a reason people are excited. Like, they're finally starting to see a little bit about this program that we just haven't had access to see the last few years, because just the personality of the coaches have been different.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we allude to this a little bit, but the fans are always talking on Twitter. You can't get past that no matter what happens. But I think the excitement is definitely there, and people are excited to hopefully go to games. I mean, I know it's easier for me to get to games on weekends as opposed to Tuesday nights, but there's no reason those arenas can't be filled up on Tuesday nights in a city the size of Columbia. So get to games, like Coach said.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big problem as a fan sport, or not necessarily a problem, but a big factor in the success of this program is going to be fan support, getting fans out there, influencing games like Coach was talking about, and that's when he gave us a pelvic thrust. So I think that means you have to. Legally, you are required to go to games now. The first game, Gabe, as you mentioned, November 7th against Southern Indiana. It's in Mizzou. It's at Mizzou Arena. Go out, go get your tickets for that game. It's also on the it looks like it's on SEC Network Plus. So if you do have that, you can watch that game as well. This is the first chance we'll get to see the team that Dennis Gates and company have assembled. Looking at this roster, man, they've got a lot of older guys, and I think that's a good thing almost for this team. They've only returned 3 players, but I think this roster, the way it's been made up, is exciting because of the talent that they have.
Yeah, and I don't. Look, they're going to be faster. They're going to be more athletic and more fun to watch, I think, than the last few teams. I don't know if they'll be better or worse. Who knows, right? We don't know anything about. There's 2 guys who have played more than like 4 minutes a game at this level, so we have no idea. But you can start to see with some of the guys they brought in, like DeAndre Golston, Sean East, some of the guys they're recruiting, like. I remember you would watch. I walked into that arena in 2017 in Nashville, and you just looked at that Florida State team, and you go, "Oh my God, they're all like somewhere between 6'5" and 6'11". They're freak show athletes. Like, they look like they could play football. That's what a Dennis Gates, that's what a Leonard Hamilton team is. That's what it looks like when they get the guys here that they want to get here.
I would love to see that here. I mean, in a couple years ago, we had all the Smiths, and they played pretty well, but they were just undersized. I mean, in every game they went into, they were out athleted, I guess is the way to look at it. I'd love to see guys that are like you just described, Gabe.
Yeah. And I think that's the one question about this team this year is like, I think they are undersized. I mean, my projected starting five, Kobe Brown's still the biggest guy in it, and so look, they've got Aiden Shaw, but he's a freshman. They've got Mohamed Diarra, who's 6'10", but he's coming from JUCO, and it might take a minute. So I don't think the team you see against Southern Utah is the team hopefully you're going to see against Arkansas or against, kind of later Georgia in the season. But the size, I think, still is a question mark.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll just have to wait and see for that game. I'm excited for it. I think this is the most excitement I've had around a Mizzou basketball season in quite some time. I think a lot of people echo that sentiment. I'm excited to see what Dennis Gates has done. I've got a whole meme collection on my phone for when Dennis Gates does good things and when he lands recruits. So I've got those all saved up, ready to go. I should have asked CY about the Dennis Gates memes if you've seen those and see what he thought about those. But I guess we'll just have to have him on the podcast again.
I'm sure he would have had thoughts.
Oh yeah. I guess we'll just have to have him back on. But football season's not quite over yet. Had a bye week, so we thought we'd give you some basketball content during the bye week. Missouri is hosting its homecoming this week. Big week in Columbia as they host Vanderbilt. Should be a win.
Has to be.
It does have to be a win. If Mizzou wants an opportunity to be a 5-7 bowl qualifier, they have to get this game.
It is important to get the win. I'll be there all weekend.
I called it, like, tell me if you guys disagree. I called it on Monday morning the most important game Eli Drinkwitz has coached here. Because
it's sadly, yes.
I mean, the results of the I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but the impact of a loss to Vanderbilt on Saturday. I mean,
how much I would set the program back for sure. You can't no matter how maybe good, how better Vanderbilt has gotten this year, which I mean, maybe they have gotten better. Maybe Vanderbilt has gotten better. I think the Hawaii game kind of made people think, well,
they
maybe
look good.
Vanderbilt's good.
Ole Miss for a half.
They just lost to Georgia 55-0.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't win that game. There's no reason we shouldn't.
But the optics of just losing to a Vanderbilt team is not good.
I mean,
brand versus brand, essentially.
You guys know the last time an SEC team lost a game to Vanderbilt. It was October of 2019.
Was it us?
That coach was a few weeks later no longer employed by the school that he coached at that game.
Yes.
It was Missouri.
It was us.
Yes.
Oh,
0-24 since.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. That is a heavy stat now, weighing in on this game that I'm going to be thinking about the whole entire time that this game is happening. But Missouri has to win this game.
Flip side, if you're Vanderbilt, if you were a Vanderbilt fan and looked at your schedule at the beginning of the year and said, "All right, where's our chance?" This is the game. This is the one you circled as, hey, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been a lot of the teams that we've in the SEC. They look at Missouri, and Missouri's now become a team where they say, "Okay, yeah, we can pencil in a win there.
We'll get that one.
We'll get that one." Missouri's become into that team that they are fighting for. Gabe, as you said before we hopped on, fighting for 13th place essentially. Which is not a great spot
lost
to
the
be
12th place game in Auburn a few weeks ago, but still can win the 13th place game.
It's still
almost won the first place game the week after.
Right.
Everybody felt so good about the first 40 minutes of this podcast, and now they're like, these people are idiots.
Sorry, guys. Sorry we had to bring football into it. Is really what happened. But I thought we should mention it a little bit, before we head out of here. But yeah, must-win game. I think you're right, Gabe. I think this is the most must-win game of Eli Drinkwitz's tenure. Is it? Do you think it's the first true must-win game for him in his tenure?
Probably, because I don't think there's such a thing as a must-win game in the first 2 years. And Look, he can lose this game, and he's not getting fired like Sunday morning. But losing to Vanderbilt at least makes you understand, hey, there might be a conversation at the end of this year. I still don't think they should do it, but losing this game means there's a conversation that winning this game can avoid.
Losing at home to Vanderbilt on homecoming is about the worst that it could possibly be. I mean, so
Yep.
In the land of
the
homecoming,
schedule makers,
yeah.
The schedule makers did Missouri a favor, because back when I grew up, before every game was on TV, the only thing you knew was like, look, homecoming is going to be KU, K-State, or some blood donor in the non-conference, because homecoming, the idea is you want to win when everybody comes back. Well, that's kind of gone out the window because TV dictates everything now, so you don't really get to pick who you play on homecoming. But they did Missouri a favor and gave them the one that they absolutely should win.
Did they play North Texas last year?
Yes.
I think that's right.
They did. Yes, I was there.
But
like, this is the perfect, I mean, if we can fill up the stadium again and make it kind of like CY was saying about bringing in the atmosphere, the same atmosphere we brought in for Georgia. I mean, it's a 3:00 game. It's honestly the perfect time. It's the perfect time for a game.
True.
It's going to be, I think, high of 78 degrees. There's no
go to the
reason not to
parade,
be
drink
there.
for 4 hours, and you're ready to go.
Go to the game.
Perfect.
Yeah. If you want to drive home, not drink and drive, but if you want to drive home after the game, I mean, it's the perfect time. There's no reason that you shouldn't be in Columbia on Saturday cheering on the Tigers to beat Vanderbilt, because they need the win.
Vanderbilt has given up at least 28 points to everybody except Hawaii. If Missouri's offense doesn't look fixed this week, there's no fixing it. I mean, I'm just being honest. They've been outscored in the SEC 162-31. Now, granted, it's Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. They're not playing bad teams, but if you can't get 30 this week, then you have a team incapable of getting 30.
Agree. Yeah.
And if you can't get 30 in college football these days, you're not winning games.
You're not going to win. Yeah. I'm
As
looking up.
we have found out.
I don't know if you've
tickets right now for. I'm gonna see if I can swing a trip to Columbia.
What are tickets going for right now on the secondary market?
Let's
guess.
I'm looking at Mizzou's
I've already looked. Well, Mizzou's website has the ticket sale up for it right now, and you can buy tickets in regular seating, not even on the hill, for $30 a piece. A little bit more with whatever on the secondary market. The lower level of
$11.50.
The sections, no. Resale, no.
50.
Okay.
On resale, they were going for anywhere from 55 in the higher section to like in the lower section was 90s, 80s, 90s.
So I'm on SeatGeek right now.
That's going to come down.
I know.
I'm on SeatGeek right now, not sponsored or anything, but $62 is the cheapest ticket you can find on SeatGeek.
Okay. So buy through Mizzou, $30.
You can go through Mizzou, and I'm gonna buy it. I like to sit on the hill because I like I don't know why. I just like to.
Because if you get bored, you like to roll down the hill with like the 8-year-olds in the third quarter.
I go find a cardboard box that's sitting outside of one of the concession stands, and I just slide down it. No, I like to sit out there just because the vibes. Just like to soak it all in. I really want to sit at the new End Zone Club, but they don't have any seats for that. The South End Zone or something. But yeah, it looks like $80 through them on there, but the Hill's $15. I think that's an easy buy. I still have 800 tickets left for the Hill. So maybe I'll make my way out there. Thinking about it. I need everyone to peer pressure me on Twitter to go out there.
Missouri's record with you guys in the house is excellent this year.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was like, I haven't been to a Mizzou game yet. And I was like, I tried to completely block that game out.
I was trying to think of mine. I was like,
you guys deserve no blame for that, though. Missouri's record without you guys in the house also not all that excellent this year.
Great point.
Not your
yeah.
I'm 500, which is better than what Mizzou is. So,
there you go.
In all fairness.
So I was looking at the schedule, trying to figure out, because some of my buddies were like, let's try to figure out a game to go to, a Mizzou game. And it's just like, okay, they got Kentucky. That game might not be a win, and then they got then it's like Arkansas.
It's also about to get cold,
right? This might be the last good weather game to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's Gold Rush. Just by the way, if you're listening, wear your gold.
Well, you guys have peer pressured me already, but to going, I'm gonna have to clear it with my girlfriend to make sure
it's literally the best time of day. You can wake up in the morning, drive there, and then you can drive home. You don't even have to stay.
True. I woke up and drove to Manhattan at 6 a.m. That was awful. I'll have to think of game day traffic. I didn't do that the one time when I went to Manhattan this year. Oh, they got a timer on me. Do you know they put a timer on you once you go to pick your seats? Holy cow.
Excellent decision to do that right in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, scared me. All right. We should probably end this podcast before I make
we have
any
to wrap
rash
up so Tucker can buy his tickets.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Thank you, Mizzou Athletics. This is a plug for them. Go buy your tickets. Go out to Faroe on Saturday. Support the boys for homecoming. Watch them bring home a Vanderbilt win. I know, again, a big thank you to Coach CY for coming on and chopping it up with us, talking some Mizzou hoops. Got me really excited for the basketball season. Got me, even during football season, like this is rare that I get excited for basketball during football season. And it's not solely because of the football team that I'm excited for basketball season. So thank you again. Thank you to Gabe and Maggie. Thank you for doing the podcast with me every single week. You putting up with this podcast. I appreciate it. So
putting
next
up
week
with you isn't as bad as putting up with football right now. So you're doing.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you're doing well.
BJ
told me there's another chat coming. So yeah.
There you go. That's why
I'm here.
That's all you need. Next week, we'll be back to hopefully recap a Missouri win and look ahead for football. Maybe talk basketball, depending on how that game goes. We'll see. But until next week, we'll talk to you later.